Okay, welcome everybody. We're going to get started here pretty quick. Pardon? Testing. Is this working? Okay. You ready, Chris? Well, okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first meeting of the 2023 for the Fort Worth Astronomical Society. We're very happy that everybody is here. We've got a big crowd tonight. Must be election night. So welcome, and welcome to everybody that's online. And for those folks that are online, if you participate asking questions or making comment, which we hope you do, please speak loud and proud so we can get everything recorded. So as soon as Bill can get everything sorted and we get the presentation up online, we'll go ahead and get started. How many people here, quick vote while we're getting organized, and this is for folks online too, how many people here love the almost 85%, 90% cloud cover we've had for about the last 6.5, 7 weeks? The only thing I can think of is the good Lord is saying that, you know, once this is over with, it's going to be great the rest of the year. So, who knows? Has anybody been anywhere particularly exciting from an astronomical perspective? X-Bar or 3RF lately? Okay. Well, yeah, I went to image at a member's house on Friday evening, and everything was cool until the sprinkler system decided to show up. I'm north of 65. I didn't think I could move that quick. So, but it was. We still had an awesome evening. Okay, we have, how many folks signed in here today, Robin? More than 25? 36. We have 36 people present today. That's awesome. And it looks like we have a whole lot of people online. That's great. So as soon as the PowerPoint gets going, we'll, here we go. All right. So there's one change in the presentation tonight. Work got in the way of me finishing my presentation on Messier, the man, the myth, and the marathon. So that's okay. We're going to do it in March, and I'll talk about it later on. I think we've got some exciting stuff to talk about tonight, and I'm glad everybody's here. So next slide, please. Okay, here's our agenda. It's always crowded because I don't know how to make it smaller. So we'll have our normal welcome. We'll go right into the business meeting. We'll hear about our outreach programs. We'll get a report from the Palo Pinto State Park partners. The Rising Star Observing Area Committee will give us a quick chat. Welcome to Jerry Becker. Where are you, buddy? Jerry Becker right here. And Dr. Jared Rice is online. These are folks are from the Thompson Observatory, the Southwestern Adventist University. And we are in a partnership with them now. So we're working on all kinds of things to expand our outreach in its totality and some other stuff. So those two gentlemen are going to talk to us tonight a little bit about Thompson. If quite a few of us have been out there, it's an amazing place. It really is, and it's close. It is 40 minutes. How many folks? It's 40 minutes from the Spring Creek Barbecue where we have the Christmas party, which is right next to my house. I'm going to guess, Jerry, how long did it take you to get here today? Oh, you were at your daughter's house. 35 or 40 minutes from here. So it's a great place, and we'll talk about it more shortly. Then we'll have questions and answers. Of course, ask questions as we go along. And as you know, I'll probably have an answer to 1 in 100. Then we'll have a quick break. We'll have our traditional raffle. And then Bill Hall will give us his January, February What's in the Sky presentation. And he does an outstanding job. So we look forward to that. And then afterwards, some of us may amble over to the World of Beer, which is just literally right down the street. So away we go. So we have new members that I'm aware of, and we had a couple of folks join just this evening. So this is awesome. Before I walked in here tonight, we had 174 members, which is up from where we were last year, and I think we've gotten 2 or 3 more this evening. So for the folks that joined this evening, could you stand up, please? This is Constantine. I didn't get his last name, but welcome. We look forward to having you here. And we have at least 1 or 2 more guests, yeah? My name's Noah. Okay. This is the place to be, buddy. There are a lot of folks here that are interested in that, so you're more than welcome. And who's your partner? Welcome.
I'm the one that's financing everything.
Well, someone's got to, because I'll tell you the truth.
Christmas was big this year.
Yeah. So my son is a goalie for Texas A&M University. Okay, he's played goalie since he's about this tall, and I'll brag a little bit. Presently, he's the number 4 goalie in the country. So I can tell you that the only thing that costs a smidgen less than astrophotography is goalie gear that I get to buy every year. So pads are $1,000, helmet, whatever. So anyway, but some folks would say it's a hobby, and some folks would say it's a habit. Both of them are good. And welcome, Noah. I thought
David Wolf from Maypearl. Have an interest in stargazing and keeping my wife happy. She's really into it. You're real close. I'm real close. I heard about that while ago. I thought,
yeah. Well, and you know what the beauty? One of the beauty, and welcome. One of the beauties of astronomy is the first instrument you have, you have 2 of them, right? So, and if you go out to Thompson Observatory, you'll be able to see quite a bit just with the naked eye. And they have a bit of equipment that you can just walk up and use. They have binoculars that are pretty outstanding. So, welcome. Welcome. Ian Campbell, is he here tonight? Well, he's recently joined. And Bob Snyder, he is joined. And I believe Dr. Rice is online somewhere in the interverse. So welcome. And this is just an outstanding, I'm really excited to see so many people here and online. It's just awesome. We've got a lot of exciting things planned, and again, we're glad you're here. Next slide, please. So, introduce the board member. I apologize if I didn't say who I was, but my name is Bob Sirkis. I'm the president of the Fort Worth Astronomical Society. The vice president is Mrs. Open. We are looking, we really need that role, and as we start to do more and more stuff, we're going to need we're hoping to find someone, or someone will volunteer. Our treasurer, and he does an awesome job, is John Giarmini. He's the quiet guy in the back, and it's a huge job, and he does really well. Our secretary is Monica Merritt. She's in the back. She too does. She just picked up that role 4 or 5 months ago, and she does an outstanding job. And I can't say 1 + 1 = 2 and then turn around and 3 months later say I didn't say that, because Monica's got it all covered. So we have 4 directors, and they're for 2-year slots. Phil Stage is not here this evening, and when you see him, you'll know who Phil Stage is. He's the curmudgeon in the group. He's a great guy. He's takes care of our raffle usually, and he takes care of producing badges, and that producing badges is important. Robert Cargill is not here. I don't think he was feeling up to snuff this evening. Pardon? Okay, well, he's online. That's awesome about it. Bill Hall is another director. He also is going to be chatting about us what's in the sky later. Zach Smith, I think he's online. He's our 4th director. And our legal beagle, our counselor, is Cy Simonson, and I'm pretty sure he's online because he's a major topic of discussion this evening. So those are your board. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with us. You can find our contact information on Night Sky Network, or you can send an email to the e-group, or call us. So, thank you. Next slide, please. Key contacts. So the development committee, we have a dark site. It is 2 hours from here in Rising Star. It's Portal 2. And our development committee is led by Michelle Thiessen. She's the president emeritus of the club. Tom Roth, who is also on the Palo Pinto Mountain State Park. It's a mouthful. Anyway, he's going to give us a report later. Robin Pond is right here. She's doing the raffle for us tonight. Zach Smith, I believe, is online. Robert Cargill is online. Shane Griffith is taking exams, I believe. And we have a group email. And every time I look at this, I know that color is terrible. I'll change it. The next time I'm here, I'll make it white. But if you have questions or you want to send suggestions, then just shoot us an email. For public outreach, Patrick McMahon takes care of the vast majority of that. He will give us a report later, and trust me, you're going to like what he's going to say. And then John McCrae, he takes care of our outreach at Tandy Hills. It's a very important program that we've been doing for quite a while. Kicks off in March, John? Awesome, and John will talk to us more about that. And then we have our Palo Pinto Mountain State Park partners. Tom Roth is going to talk about that. And we want to thank Mark Smith. He got us started on this path, on this project to partner with them, and he's moving on to do some other stuff, and we want to thank him for his efforts, his work, his passion, and that's what gets things done is passion. So thank you, Mark. And then we're going to talk about some key contacts here for Thompson Observatory. Mentioned it briefly before. It's a facility that's available to us. We have to do some scheduling and that kind of thing. So if you have a need or would like to go out there, please contact me, and I'll see about getting it scheduled with Jerry. And that way we don't have 100 people calling Jerry. That's the only reason for contacting me at the moment. And Jerry will talk about his role, but he's the volunteer manager of the facility. So, next slide, please. All right, a little bit about the Fort Worth Astronomical Society. So, it's one of, if not the oldest, astronomy clubs in the U.S. Founded by Charlie Mary Noble in 1949 for children. And the Noble Planetarium is named after Ms. Noble. And as like anything else with kids involved, parents like to take things over. So we've grown from that. My focus is to expand our outreach. A little history. When I joined, we had a really good youth outreach program, and one of my goals is to get that restarted. So as we are expanding, particularly with our partnership with Thompson, I hope to be able to expand that. So when I updated the presentation, we had 174 members and families. That number is higher now with the new folks that joined this evening. So awesome. We have a wide range of interests in this club. We have folks who just do visual, looking at the sky, astronomy. We have observational folks. Astroimaging is pretty, we have a fairly large interest group in that, and our astrophotographers are awesome. I think this year we had six monthly APODs, which are astrophotography images of the month. So we do some really cool work, and it's a challenge. It keeps the mind thinking. We have folks that do electronically assisted astronomy. That's starting to pick up quite a bit. And we build telescopes. We use binoculars. There's some photometry going on. And I heard that someone's doing some radio astronomy. So we're all over the place. So, and that's a really good thing. So if you have any questions, ask. The only bad question is the one that you don't ask. And we're all happy to answer. Astronomy is kind of like math. There's more than one way to solve a problem. So, you know, if you have questions, ask. We're happy to answer. We want everybody to participate, and we hope you will. And the last bullet, that's for our treasurer. Okay, we're a nonprofit organization, so if you want to make a tax deductible contribution, we're happy to take it. So, next slide, please. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about in the business meeting. We got quite a bit of stuff to go through. Code of conduct, we finally got that scored away, we think. So we're going to talk about that today. Cy's going to talk about it. And then I think John's going to talk about how you actually sign it. Then we'll have our treasurer's report. I'm going to talk about website and media, what we're doing. And I think there's some good stuff there. We're going to talk about our Q1 plans. We're finally going to have our open house at Rising Star. And at the same time, we're going to have a Messier Marathon. So that should be exciting. Then we're going to, Patrick and John will talk to us about our outreach. Tom's going to give us a chat about what's going on at Palo Pinto. Michelle will talk to us about where we are and where we're going with Rising Star. And then, drum roll please, we'll talk about the Thompson Observatory. Can we go back, please? Thanks. So, Cy, are you online, big guy? Yes, sir. Okay, I'm going to turn my mic off. And did we get you the code of conduct? To display? Hang on just a second, Cy. Hey, Cy, can you, oh, there it is. Awesome. Okay, take it away, Cy.
Fourth, we came up with these. I'll go through them quickly, piece at a time. So, paragraph 1, only members in good standing and your escort or guests are eligible to use the site. Number 2, we just recommend that you create a message on the e-group before you go out, just to see if anybody else is going out there. Always help to have a buddy system. I know we had people break down coming back a couple times from Star Ranch, so it's good to have somebody with you. Number 3, always have your badge available. If there's any questions, let me know. Number 4, just don't share the security codes with anybody. We're not going to post them in the e-message or in emails, but you have to go on e-groups files and find the code as we change that. Number 5, we have a logbook out there. We request that everybody, members and guests, sign in on the logbook. And currently, it's located in the latrine building. It'll be there until we make the other storage building. Number 6, parking's in the designated areas. That's kind of along the tree line. That way, if other people come in the middle of the night, they can, set up without, running into you and such. So we're just asking you to park after you dump off your equipment, park along the T-lights. Number 7, trash is your responsibility. So if you bring it out or bring it back. We have fire extinguishers. It says a storage building, but it's in the latrine building is where the fire extinguishers are. So you may want to look at them, make sure you know where they're at when you're out there, especially in the summer. The toilet facilities are available. It should work. It's a compost toilet, but if for some reason it's out of order, just you have to take the waste out. We're asking if you use tents, keep them to 2 to 4 people. This is number 10. And once you kind of camp down in the southwest corner, that way people won't be driving around and running into your tent at night. Yeah, because, you know, a lot of times we'll put our lights down, so we may not see your tent till we're like into it. Number 11, propane grills. You can use them, but just don't leave them unattended. And there's a link to the county website that talks about specific information on burning. You know, there may be a no burn time later in the year. Smoking is allowed, but just be aware of the dry conditions. So, you know, just want to make sure you don't start a fire. Number 13, fireworks are not allowed. Number 14, leave your pets at home, please. Number 15, hunting and target shooting are not permitted on the premises. So, number 16, alcohol is permitted, but just in moderation. You just got to be aware of, you know, not being obnoxious because there's other people around there. Number 17, no illegal substances are permitted. Any violation of that may result in the loss of privileges, including the site. Number 18, the site's mainly set up for astronomy and photography use, as well as any Fort Worth Astronomical Club sponsored activities. Now, you can use it for other things, but you have to get specific written authorization at least 14 days in advance if you want to use it for something else, and that's going to be on a case-by-case basis. We're not allowing campers and RVs right yet. It's only because we're trying to develop the land and figure things out, and we don't know the size of what will fit through the trees going through the gate as we set stuff up. Now, we're going to relook this as we come along, but we're just going to prohibit them for right now until we get things developed out there. Number 20, just remember this is a wildlife area, so there's all kinds of critters. Just be careful, don't be playing with the snakes and all the rest of the stuff up there. You know, there's plenty running around. 21, all minors must be supervised and accompanied by adult, no exceptions. And the adult parent or guardian is responsible for you know, the minor's behavior out there. Number 22, remember this is a remote facility away from emergency services. So, you know, there's no electricity right yet, no water. And it depends upon what service you have. You may not have cell phone service out there. So you just plan your trip accordingly. And, you know, if you got to get rescued, that's on you. But, you know, we'll help you out as best we can on that to get you safe. You and not the club are responsible for criminal activities. So, you know, be careful, don't do anything illegal out there. Same thing as far as doing intentional or negligent acts which cause harm. You'd be responsible for those, not the club. And we're asking all members, the family members, and their visitors to sign this code of conduct. John's going to talk about that in a minute. And once we just sign it once, you'll be good until we make changes, and then we'll just have to sign it again. But it's not a thing you got to do every month or every year. Once it's good until we make some changes. So pending any questions. Any questions, Robert? And John will talk about how.
Yeah, we have some questions here. Danny?
Go ahead.
Is it okay to fly a kite away from where anybody else is?
Yeah, I'm not hearing the question.
It's not, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, Danny asked if I'm just not meant to be funny. I understand where he's going with this. Wanted to know if it's okay to fly a kite away from where you're observing.
Yeah, during the daytime.
During the daytime, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I would think that's fine.
Yeah, I thought, yeah. Because I can't imagine anybody flying a kite at night.
No.
I have enough trouble seeing in the daytime, so.
Yeah.
Yes, Mike, or,
I got a question for later.
okay.
Thank you.
Or any other questions?
Okay, so everyone has to sign this, either, in what way, electronically or?
John's going to talk about the mechanics of the signature
Okay.
in just a sec. Are there any questions online?
This is Bruce Campbell. I had a question about signing the document. If we do bring a guest, do they need to sign such a document?
Yeah, so this is for the family members and such, and if you bring out a guest, we ask them to sign one as well, so that they know the rules.
Very good. I see the location. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you've already signed one, they can just pull this, or you can have them, help them pull this up and just sign a separate one. That'd be fine. Second?
Any more questions? Online, going once, online, anywhere? Okay, John.
I need to bring this up in a, can you see that? Yes, hurrah. Okay, so this is the online form. Is that better? Now it's so big I can't see it. All of the 1 through 24 kinds of things are just click boxes. So when you fill this out, all you do is do a click, just like that. Okay? And if you see the red asterisk on the right, that means that's a required field. So you can't move on to something.
Mute your.
Yes. Well. This one?
Yep. Just click on the icon right there. Yeah, just let go over the icon.
Okay. Is that more better? Okay, so anyway, this content is exactly verbatim taken, copied and pasted from the document you were just seeing and placed in this resource that's available online. And one of the things you need to be aware of is there isn't a signatory here with a digital signature, all right? So what this says is if you enter a name in here, you're saying that you've read the rest of it. And I think that's the same kind of functionality that was available on the Starr and Thompson Foundation. After you go through these 24 click boxes, you can just tab here on the calendar and select the date that you want, and on you go. And only the first adult member is required. So when you're online, you have to provide that information for an adult. All the other things are optional. So you can have a second one, a first through fourth minor. It's not clear in my mind that we would have people doing online visitors, but it's a possibility. In either case, you have to have an adult name in this field before you can put a visitor name. We have to associate the visitor to a member. Otra vez? Who was, somebody said something. Yes, we will have, I don't know if that's what you were saying, there will be copies of these, paper copies of these available at the site. Okay, cool. Are there any questions?
Yeah, John, I'm a little bit unclear about exactly how you access this online.
We will provide that information to you shortly. Because I'm not going to sit here and translate this link to you. It will be in the new members handbook going forward, and I've got some people looking at it on the side just to make sure its functionality is fine. And as soon as that's done in a day or two or three, then we'll send out a Canvas email to everyone, all members, to execute this.
And if you said the new member handbook, when will that be posted on the e-group?
The new member handbook is posted immediately after it's updated onto the files directory under the e-group. And for any new members, they get the latest copy of that sent when they register.
Oh, I didn't realize one had been posted. I looked for it earlier and did not find it.
It is there. Let me see if,
But John, you're doing two things. You can update handbook and send everybody a link to it, correct? I don't think he caught that.
I didn't hear that either.
It's up near the top.
Well, all I can tell you is it is here because I put it here. New member handbook, right there,
Click on it.
okay?
Folder. And I couldn't find it in there.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know where, okay, thank you for pointing that out. It's been there. Interesting. Okay, let me make a note real quick so I can put a copy there shortly.
And the reason for my questions is I was planning on going out to Rising Star tomorrow night and just wanted to follow the rules.
Well, I don't know that it would be functional by tomorrow night, but there are other people going out there this weekend, and I suspect it may be functional by then, but I can't guarantee that it will be functional by tomorrow night. Possibly, probably, perhaps.
Okay, well, I'll watch for it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes? Most people will just need to do it once. Well, that's an interesting, the question was, is there a way to print a copy of this? The short answer is not immediately, but I was working with some Python code because my boa constrictor code wasn't functional. And I think perhaps maybe there is a way to facilitate that automatically, but it's not on that form right there yet. So I will try to get that there soon, but I need to get the overall functionality there. Question 2.
The reason I'm asking is if you're taking a guest out there and you want to show them what this thing is, so that they know what the rules are.
Well, again, there will be forms, paper sheet forms out there along with the sign-in register. Any other questions? Anybody online questions? No? Robin, did you see my request to peruse this thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Just checking.
I did it. I submitted it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to thank, there were quite a few people involved in putting this code of conduct together. It is not an easy chore. No one likes rules, and trying to create rules that are not capricious and arbitrary and fair to everybody. It's a challenge, and we all appreciate everybody that participated in this. So thank you very much. And John, thank you for making it much easier to actually sign the thing online. So, super. And we get to hear from John again, the treasurer's report. So I'll run the mic your way.
Okay, first off, whoever asked about the new members handbook, it is currently online. And I'm sorry, I'm having to go through like 20 screens to find this thing. There it is.
John,
Yes, I am.
look up.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Okay, so these are the monies that we have as of the 17th this morning. So there's been activity happening all day long. There's more money to be put in there, but not thousands and thousands. I will tell you that surprisingly, we sold all 6 of the books that I brought, so hoorah. Thank you very much. We did have an increase in our storage facility. It's now $20 more than it was before. That's how it is this year. And it's a air-conditioned or a climate-controlled environment. I can't imagine what their utility bills are. I'm just guessing that's pretty bad. Can you scroll up for me, sir? Just a little bit. Robert was talking about membership. So every month we put a membership statistics in here, how many members we have. And actually, right now we're at 175, and we have, well, it's actually 176. Last year at the same time we were at 173. So very encouraging. And the number of people that have registered but haven't paid, those are the folks that get interested enough to submit the registration request, but they don't follow through with paying. About a third of the total number of people we get in a year end up in that category. And for those who are wondering what we do, well, I pester them about it twice after they're sent the original, so 3 times in total. And for reasons unbeknownst to me, they don't jump. So next, page up. So this is a graph showing what January of 2022 was like versus today. And as we get farther down in the year, we'll talk about the cliff. That's a little jump off point there in June. The next major thing to piddle with is the liability and property insurance that's coming due the first part of March, so over the next 30 days or so. Were you going to mention the TechSoup? Were you going to mention TechSoup?
Yes.
You are? Okay. Good. Any questions? Just one last thing. Chris, if you could go back up to the top, please. I just want to make everybody aware, the savings account is where all the money is that are used for projects on our properties. And right now, the only property we have is Rising Star. So that's the total sum of our money to do that. And that includes not just improvements, but ongoing issues. If we need to have it mowed or fix a mower or pay taxes on buildings or so forth and so on, it's all got to come out of that. the next month report will show what I refer to as a run rate. It indicates how many members we need to have to support our expenses for a year. Last year, I think it was 138. So that's obviously going to go up a bit, but that's what these numbers end up meaning. For right now, we're in pretty good shape. Okay, next.
Thanks, John. Okay, so I'm going to briefly talk about the website and our media. For quite a while, we've been trying to, we want to be able to update our website and get control of, for lack of a better term, all of our social media. Primarily because it's our intellectual property and we need to be able to control it and make changes to it. And at the moment, we're unable to do that. I can report that we've communicated with folks who have taken care of that for us over the long term in the past, and that process is going to move forward, and we'll start getting that transition, that knowledge transfer into the executive board area probably over the next 60 to 90 days. So that's good to report. What we're also doing is we've registered a new domain in the media in the meantime, and it's called FWAS.club. So pretty soon, you should start seeing some emails coming out of that. We're in the process now of getting Google. It's called Google for Nonprofits. It's basically Google Workspace. So we'll have free business infrastructure. And that process was started this week. John mentioned a group called TechSoup, and they're the ones that validate your nonprofit status. We've had email exchanges, and that seems to be going on pretty well. So we should know within the next couple of weeks. I'll be surprised if it's not approved. So, yes? Well, okay, so we have a website called FortWorthAstro.com. And I'm sorry? It's a website. Well, we're going to make a concerted effort to raise funds, okay? We can't go to companies like Transamerica that have a huge fund distribution. They make donations to folks like us and say, hey, we really would like $5,000 for the Fort Worth Astronomical Society. And oh, by the way, you communicate with Robert at SirkisFamily.com. That is a red flag. That's going to get us nowhere. So what we're trying to, that's one of the reasons, if not the most important reason, why we want to get control of our IP so we can start this process. So, treasurer at FWAS.club is a legit email address because they can say, okay, take me to FWAS.club, and it's going to take us to our website. So that's an important reason for doing this. In addition to being able to control our website, we have challenges doing that now, and anybody that's seen our website knows it needs some modernization. So that's what we're doing, and I'm glad that we're finally able to move forward with that. So it's really good. So, any questions? I see all kinds of hands raising. We'll start in the back, okay, Mike? John?
Yes, I want everybody to understand too, it's not just the website. This is an administration foundation. Everything I have is in Google, everything. All these reports I do, all the letters I write, all the spreadsheets that I make, everything. So I am leaving this year, and whoever the next person is, it would be convenient for them to be able to go into an environment that already has all of the tools that have been developed and used going forward. And I don't remember, it's like a 300 gig limit, I think, is what we have on that site by default. But it's that part to me is just important as having a place to run a website.
Mike?
Yeah, are we transitioning out of FortWorthAstro.com domain?
No, we'll
Cease to exist at some point in the future?
no, we'll keep them. Actually, we have FortWorthAstro.com. There's a FortWorthAstro.org we're trying to track down in FWAS.club. So we'll have all three of them. So if you hit one, you'll go to the same website. So we're going to get that all sorted out, hopefully by the end of the year. That's the goal. Yes, Chris?
I have the Fort Worth Astro at gmail.com account, so we need to figure out a way to roll that into the Fort Worth Astro.club.
Okay.
I don't know how we can do that, but that's the account that controls the YouTube site,
Okay.
so all that has to be connected together.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll work to get that all organized. There are all kinds of bits and bobs when you get technology involved. If you're not a technologist, it's confusing. So there are a lot of pieces out there that we don't know. We know what we know, but as we go through this process, we're going to find stuff that we don't know. So, and it's a challenge, and for all kinds of reasons, it's important. So that's the primary reason that we've been working on this in the background. We made a lot of progress in the last couple of weeks, and so we wanted to go ahead and report on it. Okay, are there any questions out in the Zoom land about website and media? Okay, so I want to talk about our Q1 plans. I want to stay on point. I'm probably going to stumble a little bit into Michelle's presentation, so I apologize in advance. We've had lots of fits and starts about our open house, and that is my fault because I've been excited about the fact that we have our own observing area, and I wanted just something that I claim I have, which I do, but I didn't in this case, is patience. So we're finally at a point now where we can have our open house. And so on March the 8th, which is a Saturday, the moon is setting at 4 or something in the afternoon. Pardon? 18th, I'm sorry, yeah. So the moon is setting on March the 18th at about 4:30, so we will have dark skies for all the visual folks. And that, of course, is important because for us astro people, we don't like the moon, but we can get by without it. We can point in a different direction. So on the 18th, we'll have our open house and Messier Marathon. So I'm really excited about the Messier Marathon. It's something really cool. We've done it in the past, and we want to try and make that a regular event. And we'll have a fallback date of the week after, and at least right now the fallback date is the week after. So there will be more stuff upcoming. And but I will say for the Messier Marathon, I'll be looking for some volunteers, because we'll have 4 or 5, maybe 6 stations. So, of course, you can bring your own, but we also expect to have folks from Southwestern Adventist University. The HEB School District is very interested in coming out. Rising Star and Cisco School Districts are interested in coming out, part of our outreach. So I'm really excited about that. Outreach is a good thing because we get to teach the world about what's in the sky and the history behind some of it. And the more outreach we do, the more members we're going to get. So that's what's coming up in the first quarter, and that's a big load. So I'm very excited about it. Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. There'll going to be lots of communication, solar scopes, because the open house will be in the afternoon, yeah, solar scopes, because we'll do the outreach, have picnic of some kind. The sun's going to be up, so it should be really, really exciting. Any questions on the Q1 plans? Yes, Chris.
I was going to say, if the weather holds, everything is fine. I was planning on doing a all-night Mezze Marathon virtual star party from Grandview. So if anyone is masochistic enough and wants to join me and help me do a broadcast, that'd be great. Otherwise, it's me talking alone all night long, and I don't want to hear myself talk to myself all night long.
Okay. Awesome. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, Matt.
Maybe I'm a little bit behind the curve, but what about our Facebook page?
That's part of website and social media and all that stuff. What in particular are you interested in, or?
Well, I was just looking at it, and there doesn't seem to be much activity on it, and I was wondering if planning on being updated or changed.
Yeah, yes, it's on the list. Anything and everything. But I think the first thing for us is to get all of the website stuff, the domain registration, and all that jazz squared away. So.
We also have an Instagram site that's tied in with the Fort Worth Astro at Gmail account.
Yep, and we have Discord, so we have a lot of stuff. The imaging folks use Discord, and it's pretty cool. So, any other questions? Okay. Patrick. He's got some really good stuff for us today.
I got one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so got a couple of star parties coming up, and Robert wanted me to just kind of, for those who weren't at the Christmas party last month, just kind of a recap for last year. We were able to do about 50 did 50 star parties last year. Got lucky with the weather on that, and I think we had somewhere around 7,500 people total. Swung by, said hi, looked at the scopes and various things. So for all those who helped out last year, thank you very much. It was a good year, and hopefully we'll have a better year, as good as year or better this year. So this Friday we got one over in Argyle. Can you hear me? Okay. So we got a star party in Argyle for a planned community. We did this back in May, so it was really well attended. Expect the same this week. And then Saturday we got one in Cedar Hill, but I'm not sure that's going to happen because of the weather forecast. I'll keep an eye on, I'll update as we get closer. And then next week I got two. One is for a middle school in Flower Mound. The only catch there is for any volunteers that did need a background check. So if any of you did fill that out and got approved, let me know. I know if there are a few of us, there's like 3 or 4 of us that did that, so which should cover it. So, and then after that, the next, and then Saturday we got one down at Mansfield, Oliver Nature Park. That's also a well-attended one there. So again, I'll post these on the e-group, and if you're able to help out, let me know, or just show up. Thank you much.
Mr. John McCray.
First off, I'd like to thank everybody that helped with the 2022 Tandy Hill Star Parties. We had a pretty good year. We made all scheduled star parties, all 9 of them. One caveat, some of them were clouded out. Others, we had a lot of wind. One star party, we only had 2 people, Pam, myself, and then Patrick had another star party that night, and he came in at the end of it and helped with us. For 2023, and for the new people, the area where we're going to is the Tandy, we do partner with the Tandy Hills Nature Center, and that is an area located right off of I-30 between Beach Street and Oakland Boulevard, which is immediately east of Beach Street. The schedule has already been put out. It's a great place for new people or people that just got a new scope to bring it out, and we like helping people set up their new scopes and getting things going. Last year, Robert Cargill came out for 2 or 3 of the parties, and he set up his imaging setup, and that generated a lot of interest. So come on out. There's a little bit of something for everybody.
Thank you, Jock. And if you get out early, it's a great walking area. The park is really nice, and there's a great path. It's a great event. I've been to several, and have always had a good time there. So, thank you, John. Tom Roth, where are you, big guy?
Robert,
Sir.
there is a set of files on e-group under Tandy Hills that shows the location and all that wonderful stuff.
John is reminding me that on the e-group, on the file system there are files that tell us how to get to Tandy Hills. It's tucked away a little bit, but the instructions are good. I've used them, so. And my wife says I'm directionally challenged, so. Okay. Any questions before we move on to Tom? Okay, Tom, thank you.
This Saturday, I sent out to the group, let's see, where am I? Do I need to move over? The annual meeting at Palo Pinto Mountain State Park is in Strawn at 2 o'clock. The ranger or superintendent will review the status of Palo Pinto. It starts at 2 to 3, and then we're going to hike the park for an hour or 2 on the east side, take a look, and hopefully look at where the future astronomy site is going to be, I hope. Annual memberships like $10 a year. This is a group of people that represent equestrians, bird watching, astronomy, mountain biking, all sorts of endeavors, and these people are passionate to make this park one of the best parks in Texas. They project about 80,000 people a year will be going to this state park, and that's why I'm involved with it. I look at it as instrumental to the future health of our club. If we have 80,000 people and star parties out there, and they can join our club with QR codes and stuff like that to raise our membership level. This is a long-term investment, 5-10 years out, but to raise our membership and give us a higher base to have roll-off buildings at Rising Star and all sorts of stuff. All the water has been run from the city to the park. All the wet utilities have been installed in the park. Vertical structures are out for rebid. They figure they can save another $500,000 in construction costs. So they're looking to open this park in December on a soft opening and to the general public the first quarter of 2024. I am going to talk with the superintendent about, we have a designated astronomy area close to Pavilion. Mark brought up a good idea of maybe trying to couple some pads being built for us out there while they're pouring concrete for the pavilion, which is adjacent, and I'll try to check on that. Maybe we get some of our work party out there building forms where they could just come out and pour it while they're pouring the pavilion. So I'll try to figure out how we can do that. And that way we have a place to do star parties and public outreach, which will help us out in the future for grants and that type of stuff. So everything looks good. You know, I think these people that are out there, they're hardcore. They want this park to be one of the best in Texas, and I do too. So that's the status of Palo Pinto.
Thank you. Any questions? Awesome. Before I hand it over to Michelle, I want to say, Tom reminded me about a couple things. If you haven't been to Rising Star, it's an awesome place. Our neighbors are, are incredible. They watch the place like a hawk, and they're very nice people. They're easy going, the Rosses, and a lot of time you go out there, if they have extra stuff from their vegetable gardens or fruit gardens, they'll be wanting you to haul it off. So there's a couple things. They have 2 dogs. They are the sweetest dogs you ever did see. They are very friendly, and every time we go out there, they come for a visit. And they are outside dogs, so if they've been messing around with skunks, they're going to smell. So, but if you're out there and you want them to go home, all you have to say is, it's not go home. Now I forgot what huh?
Go sit.
Yeah, go sit. Go sit for those dogs is to go home, and they'll go home. They're very nice dogs, so if they come up on you, don't be startled. So if you put a ground cover over, like I put a plastic tarp down when I'm out there, they'll definitely come out and lay on that. So they are great dogs. And Tom this weekend is going to take 2 Dobbs out and put in the storage building out there. So if you don't have scopes or you don't want to haul your scopes, there's no reason why you can't go out there, because there'll be a couple of scopes, a couple of Dobsonians out there with eyepieces and the whole 9 yards. So that'll be out there. Oh, Tom, do you know yet? 10 and 12. So yeah, we have so much stuff on our storage facility, it's about to burst. So we need to get our other storage facility out on Star, and I think Michelle's going to chat to us about that. Yes, Danny.
14 and a half be out there fairly soon?
We don't. I don't think we have enough room to store it. So, any questions out in the Zoom world? Okay. Oh, Michelle's got. Thank you, Michelle.
Is it my turn? Okay. Again, talking about Rising Star, and yes, do not be surprised that going back to the dogs and the wildlife area, do not be surprised if you see one of the dogs on the other side of the field coming out of the woods carrying a rabbit that is not moving. So yeah, that happened this past weekend. So they are definitely country dogs. They did not bring it to us, which was very nice. Thank you. So yeah.
But you had to go over and look at it.
Yeah, I had to go just make sure what it was. So anyway, the Rising Star, the toilet is working as predicted. It's doing fine. So we do have a working toilet out there. Everyone who worked on building that shed, thank you ever so much. It is a very comfortable building. It was a little bit cool Saturday night, getting down into the 50s. We may have been out there when it got to the 40s, but I mean, it is insulated. That radiant barrier made it extremely comfortable in that little shed. So yeah, it is very nice. The group, our development committee, did get together just a little bit before the holidays once the shed was built, just so we could go over our list of items, make sure that we were, wanted to stay in the same area, how we wanted to arrange. And remember that the development is going to be very fluid. It's going to depend on funds that we have and other items as to what gets done in what order. And the needs of our club may or may not change. We do agree that one of the next items that has to happen is that entry from the county road coming up to the fence where we're going to be placing a gate. There may still be a little bit more clearing to do, but that is going to be the next item on the agenda. We are recommending that we do invest just those few $100s to put a culvert in that drive area, because those of us who've been going out there for several months, as we've had some rains, we've noticed that that ditch, especially for those of us with short legs, it's a little bit harder to jump over that ditch. So we are recommending to go ahead and install the culvert when we put that drive in. And when that happens, we'll also be doing the gate and have our own entrance into the area. And we will go from there and determine how we need that road to run on our side of the fence. So hopefully that will get done fairly quickly. After that, next on the list is going to be our storage shed. I know that Bob and Michael Tier are working on the solar batteries, solar-powered panels, and getting some power run from the solar powers into the shed. That's in the works. Storage shed, again, is next on the list. Pads and piers, electricity. One of the items we added, especially for those of you who are new members, is fencing along that east-west property line. I know Bob Sirkis was going to be helping James Ross with that. And just one of the reasons we wanted to put that on the list was so that it doesn't get forgotten, because newer members may not be as familiar with where the boundaries to our property are. So we just need to, and James Ross, he's always said, you know, it's okay if we sort of get into his area if we get better viewing. We just don't want to take advantage of that. So we do at least want to know where our property lines are. And then, of course, we've just got a wish list for items that are going to be happening a little bit further down the road. Obviously, I think Tom mentioned an observatory roll-off. Internet, weather station has been discussed, a sky cam, picnic table, because you know that's always going to be fun. And then, of course, we'll add to that as we go. Input from the club members, we're always open to that, so if you have suggestions, let us know. Again, as I said when we were discussing the code of conduct, right now we're not going to be looking at RVs and campers coming onto the site. There is just down the road as you're coming down whatever that road is, from Cross Plains down to Rising Star, there is a little RV place where you can go park your RV. Another suggestion is if you don't want to drive all the way back to the Metroplex, you can get to Eastland because they have a couple of hotels in Eastland that you can bed down in. Yeah. Let's see, did I forget anything? Okay, I think we got, any questions, any comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
The operation of the toilet, is there a step-by-step procedure on exactly how that works for somebody new going out there?
Yes, in fact, I will print those off. I'll be out there on Saturday, and so I'll sort of print those off for the newbies. It's really pretty easy. There is like there's a handle, but usually if you'll add some water and add some of that dry filler that's next to the toilet, you put that in the toilet before you leave. I usually do it. It really only needs to be done once a month, so I usually do that when I'm going out. But basically, when you leave for the night, you pull out the handle, you crank it, I think about 6 times, turn the drum all the way around. When you turn that drum, always make sure that the opening is facing up. so that somebody doesn't come along and not have an opening. It can be. But yeah, it's very easy to operate. It's just a composting toilet. It worked well for us for years out at Star, and I was very pleased when we were out there Saturday, and it's working just fine. The shed was, we did not see any sign of infiltration from rodents or snakes or nothing. Not in the shed, obviously not in the cubicle for the toilets, so it is well sealed. And so y'all who worked on building that, you did a great job. So thank you very much.
Michael?
I had heard rumor that maybe there was an offer out there to Mr. Ross, our neighbor, to subsidize his trash, and that we were gonna pay him a small
$20
sum of
a
money
month.
every month. And I didn't know if that was true or not.
It is true, it's $20 a month.
So if that's the case, then should we amend the code of conduct where number 7 says
No,
that?
not right now.
So what are we paying him for if we're not dumping our trash there?
You can dump your trash.
Okay.
By all
I'm
means.
just a disconnect, you know. The other question is, are there plans to put another storage building out there at any point?
Yes, that is down the list after we get the entryway in, get a road in a little bit further, and then we've got the storage shed. And we're looking at something, again, what it might be. I mean, they've gone back and forth, everybody in our group, containers, shipping containers or anything. Or I know Zach has an idea on, and a plan on how we can use some of the lumber that we have out there to build a shed. We're looking at something along the lines of like a 40-foot shed, and it may end up being another building similar to what we've done for the smaller latrine shed. And just get one of those from Mueller. I think cost was going to be on something like that right now, about $6,000.
12 by 21 sheds, 3,500 plus all the other stuff.
12 by 21 is 3,500 base. And so it will cost more if we go to a larger shed, but we'll look at that as we get closer to building out the storage unit. One of the things that we always want to be aware of is that, and I know that John emphasized it when he came up with his treasurer's report, we would like to always have at least 2 years worth of funds for the club expenses, 2 years worth of expenses in the bank account. And then anything over that you can look at as far as investment into the Rising Star property. We obviously don't want to drain our account to the point where it could be detrimental to the club. So that's another thing we always have to keep in mind.
Can I follow up on that?
Yes.
So I agree, we need to keep money there, but I also feel like we're hemorrhaging a lot of cash storing that stuff over at the storage unit. And I'm not sure why we're even having it in a air-conditioned facility. Eventually the plan is to move it out to Rising Star, which won't be air-conditioned either. So, I feel like that should be revisited.
We can do that. One of the reasons we have it there is because we needed storage, and Tom Roth had one of his patients, one of his clients, who owns that area, owns that set of units, and he has given it to us at a discount rate. I know that a similar size storage unit that we have non-air conditioned at work, we pay $700 a month for 2 units of that size. So we are getting a very good cost on that.
Yeah. Mike, I shopped that quite a bit, and one of my patients owns the building. The normal price on the 10 by 15 is about $250 a month, and so he gave us a $100 a month discount. There's no termination on that. I know the prices will go up, but yeah, that's a good point for the board to address, is how many memberships it takes to ongoing the storage shed. But even
Do we need the AC part?
Yes.
The whole building's that way.
Yeah.
Oh, so the entire facility is. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I shop a bunch of
It seems to
storage
me like
places.
about, just doing the numbers, that about maybe 30 members is what the annual cost of storage is.
You're correct.
So
for 12 by 21.
Yeah, but
Break even's
there's,
a little over 2 years?
you're gonna be 4,500 plus another 1,500 to finish everything out. So you're looking at $5,000 to $6,000 for a 12 by 21 metal shed like we built out there. But yeah, that's a good point, and that's for the board to address. But I shop, that's the best deal storage building we could do in the time allotted, and we can't find a less expensive place. But
One point to add to that, the reason why we can't store equipment that we would like to be reimbursed if it was damaged out at Rising Star is because of fire damage. The insurance company that we deal with right now, last year that was a major thing. They would not underwrite a facility that did not have access to water. Now, that's not to say that there will not be other insurance companies that we could acquire going forward. And once we get registered through TechSoup, then it's possible that we can find somebody on TechSoup that is in the insurance business. But because of all the situation that was happening in California, Arizona, Nevada, Washington, et cetera, in drier areas, there wasn't a way to cover it. It was going to be gone. So that's why we have that storage unit as opposed to not.
For those who are on Zoom, John Dramini was explaining that one of the items we are dealing with last year was the insurance company sort of insists that we have a storage facility that is protected by fire, and this one is sprinklered.
I hate to cut this. I hate to cut this short, but we got quite a bit to cover in 33 minutes. So, go ahead, Robin. Please keep that in mind.
So how will our things be covered by insurance once we have a storage building at the site?
And John has already, he mentioned that he's going to be looking at other insurance companies.
Any other questions? I wanted to address one thing, Mike. The code of conduct says you bring trash in, you take the trash out, and you take the trash out and you dump it in the tip. That's why we're not going to change it.
Oh, okay, so taking the trash out would mean putting it in Mr. Ross's trash receptacle?
Yep. So. Okay, anything else? Okay, we have quite a bit to cover. Bill, how long is your prezo?
About yay.
Pardon?
Maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes or something.
Okay.
They usually, I don't know.
Can we, for the folks that are in the room, can we get a show of hands who need to take a break, or can we continue on? 6 minutes.
It's all the talk about toilets.
Pardon? Okay. Back at 8:35 sharp.
Jerry also has a video he would like to show.
Pardon?
Jerry Gardner from 3RF would like to show a video, so if we can squeeze that in.
Not going to have time, I don't think.
All right.
I wanted to
get to Bill's presentation.
Are we doing bills, or are we doing the?
This is the most important. No, George isn't here. Joyce. Pardon?
Who's the lady at the end of the table?
Robin Pond.
Robin. The name's so mixed up.
Okay. All right. So, guys. So you've probably heard a lot of chit chat about the Thompson Observatory. Late November, Jerry Becker, who's to my right, sent us an email and asked us basically how can we help, how can we work together to expand both of our outreach. So we've entered into a partnership with the Thompson Observatory. It's owned and operated by the Southwestern Adventist University. It's in Keene, Texas. It's 40 minutes from here. And it is a wonderful facility. They have a dome that has a 10-inch TMB refractor. It is a tremendous instrument. It's on a Paramount. It's on a big Paramount mount, so it's a really cool instrument. And they have a very nice roll-off, which I've got in the back of my mind, so that we kind of have an idea of how a roll-off should look and work. And they have lots of equipment. They have a C14, I mean, big scopes. So, and they have 2 John Dowell Dobbs, so you know they're good. They're 4 and 8 inch Dobbs, and John works out there quite a bit. And a Coronado Solar Max, and a pretty good set of binos. And there's more stuff. So Jerry Becker is the volunteer manager and out there, and Dr. Jared Rice, who looks like he's about 18 maybe. He is the new assistant professor at Southwestern Adventist University for physics, astronomy, and mathematics. He started their, or restarted their astronomy program, and just recently started their intro, I think it's Intro to Astronomy, he'll correct me later. And just to show you the interest, they said he could max at 15 students. He has 27. So that's pretty awesome. So I'm going to ask Jerry to talk about Thompson, and then Dr. Rice is going to talk about some of the things that we're going to work on. And one of the things we're starting to plan and work together on is the solar eclipse. So here you go, Jerry.
Thank you, and I'm so appreciative that Bob brought his group out to us, and we spent one evening in the roll-off discussing how we might be able to collaborate together. I am a volunteer. I was a teacher, high school teacher, most of my life. I was the IT director for Keene ISD for 13 years. I've always been interested in computers, and you might find this unusual, but I started teaching with computers in my classroom in 1970. And you say micros weren't even invented then. That's true. But I borrowed one that you could wire yourself from Andrews University in Michigan, and they said, nobody uses it. I can't give it to you, but I can put it on permanent loan. I said, that'll work for me. So I started teaching with that Minivac 601, always interested in computers, and started a computer program in Texas, one of the first schools to have a lab of TRS-80 Model 1s with 4K of memory. That's a long time ago. And my students also did mark cards with pencils. We'd take them to the university and run the program, and next day they'd say, oh, it didn't run. I heard that every day. But that's the way it was, and it was a nice growth. I retired from Trimble Tech High School here in Fort Worth in 2016 and told the lady who is in charge of the observatory, it was named after her father, Thompson. Renee Thompson was a teacher there who had passed away, and it was built in 1984. It was dedicated to his memory, and she is his daughter and was one of my students back in 1973, 74. She was one of my first students. And we've always been friends. I told Tina, when I retire from teaching, I'd like to see if we can get that observatory running, because it hadn't been running in 12 years, but it had this really nice telescope in it, that TMB 10-inch APO, and a really nice mount. We have an ME, we just upgraded it. It's still an ME, but it has the new electronics in it. Okay, we're not going to do any more viewing tonight. So I'm going to summarize real quickly. We are Southwestern Adventist University. I don't teach there. I just said I'd like to get this running again, and in April that'll be 5 years ago. We had a 14-foot dome, ash dome, that housed this back in 1984 with a 20-inch daub in it. It wasn't the greatest daub, but I used to go up there on Friday nights when they opened it. We had a wonderful astronomy teacher back then, and I would just enjoy seeing what we could see, because I taught physics at that time also. And we were studying lenses and so on, and then the man who replaced me started grinding his own lenses with his class, physics class. And he was an amazing person. And I just had that interest, but I didn't have any background in astronomy. I still don't. I still study to try to find out what you guys know, and that's why I wanted Fort Worth Astronomical Society to come and join us. People like Christian over here, once they came down after that first meeting, he was down 4 times in 2 weeks, helping us a lot, helping us collimate and get things running. As you can see, we have quite a few. We did last week get a 126 millimeter Dixon telescope with a 45-degree angle eyepiece on it. So we'll have those 2 binoculars available, because kids love to be able to find their own through our red dot finder. And those 2 binoculars will be sitting. They are available to take out to your DSS out in West Texas. This was not given to us. It wasn't given to Thompson. It was given to Thompson and Fort Worth Astronomical Society. And a really nice pair of binoculars. We used them for the first time last week. Thursday night will be Dr. Jared Rice's first time bringing his students, because this is the first semester he's teaching astronomy. So we're going to see how that all goes. He has a lot of students, 27, 28, something like that. I was in the class last week. If you have any questions while I'm talking, I'm almost through talking, but I wanted to see if there are any questions. You will see over here there's some pamphlets about our... Oh, you passed them out. Oh, good. Excellent. I'm so glad, because I forgot to bring extras. I have a lot of those. Those are old. Those were before we built the roll-off. The roll-off has been actively working for a year now. We started it last January. It was one of those things where had no money to build it, but some board member from SWAU said, I heard you wanted to build a new observatory by the dome, and I'd like to help. And she wrote us a check for $10,000. And that was a good start. Let's see. And then I've had donations. The man who works with me, Eugene Ulrich, you might have heard of Ulrich Barnes. They sold about $1 million worth of the housing area, the dormitory and the cabins, to 3RF. I stayed in one of those several years ago. And Eugene was one of the persons who came up and said, what's the password? He didn't know there was an observatory there. And I said, hello. He's been a partner with me ever since. He said, we've got these other telescopes in the physics closet and in the physics lab, and they need a home. Let me see if I can ask my brother Jonathan if he'll donate a building. And he did. So they donated all the wood. A concrete company donated all of the concrete. A wonderful inventor slash metal worker who's used to putting copper roofs on 700-foot tall buildings all over the world. He lives just a little under a mile from the observatory, and we've been friends for a long time, and he donated all of his labor, all of his design work. All I had to do was buy the I-beams, the rollers, and the bearings. And he came and put it all together. He'd never built an observatory before. He said, this and one more will make twice, but I'm not building one again. It took a lot of engineering, and he is a wonderful engineer. So you're welcome to take a look at his design. I told him I was coming up here and telling you that he would be glad to help you build one down there. Is Dr. Rice online? Can we? Oh, he's off now? No, sir. Okay. Dr. Rice is new. He's an astrophysicist. He did his research in black holes. He has his own telescope, but he's not a visual astronomer type. He is theoretical, so he's learning a lot more about the visual side. I have been training Christian on some of our equipment there, and Patrick, and several other. If you've been to the Thompson Observatory, raise your hand so people can see where you are, okay? So you can ask those people about going down there and what their perceptions are about being able to use it. We do have a warm room. Our observatory is 32 feet long, 16 feet wide. The warm room is 8 feet of that 32 feet. It is air conditioned and heated. One reason we wanted air conditioning is because we wanted something to keep the humidity down where we had sensitive equipment. But the other thing is, it's really nice to get in air conditioning in the summer. And it's even nicer to get in a warm room with coffee machines and hot chocolate machine and so on. So it's a really nice place to take guests in and teach them in a warm place. And I have one of my volunteers who does that a lot, because we have a lot of posters in there. We have meteorites, we have other equipment, we have pictures that we've taken through the observatory. So it's a nice place. I don't have a code of conduct designed yet. I was very interested in what you have here. We also don't have water, except there is down a pond 2 blocks down below us. So if you start a fire, just take your cup down there and bring it back. That's why we don't have smoking, but we are a non-smoking, so no tobacco, no drugs, no alcohol campus. If you come down and you have a beer in your pickup, it's okay. Just go out there and have your sips and then come back. But we don't want to have that type of stuff around our students and around our guests and so on. If you're not a Seventh-day Adventist, I will have a pothole with water in it when you drive through. You're an Adventist after that. See, that's my immediate baptism. Maybe that won't work. I'll discuss that later. I'm sorry, Dr. Rice is not showing up on the screen. He's online, Dr. Rice. You're all right, you see Dr. Rice here? There he is. You're a little bit fuzzy. Do you have more light that you can shine? Okay, that's all right. Do you have any questions of Dr. Rice? Oh, that's much better. We turned our lights off.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Rice came to us after working with NASA on his doctoral program. They funded his research. And like I said, his research was in black holes. So he has a lot of that theory, and I love sitting in his class. Dr. Rice, you have any other words to say?
Yeah, sure. Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for inviting me to your meeting, and yeah, this is great. I would love to see you all in person. Currently, we have a 17-month-old and another one due in February, so we're keeping it on the down low in terms of going anywhere recently. But yeah, we're happy to partner with y'all, and I'm going to meet Jerry and I and a few others perhaps will be in the meeting, but we're going to speak with our university president and vice president and a few others at the university level and talk about what we're going to do for the total solar eclipse. And I was just talking to Bob, and basically I invited him and any of you all that might want to show up. You know, we're going to be in the path of totality, and we'll have 3 minutes and 51 seconds of totality on April 8, 2024. So looking forward to any and all people that can show up to that. We're going to make a big deal out of it on campus, obviously. It's a pretty cool event. And yeah, let's see, what else? Yeah, just call me Jared, you know. Don't need to throw around my title there. I do black holes. I'm going to restart my research this summer probably. And currently I'm focusing on teaching and my family and all that. And let's see, what else? Yeah, I don't want to waste y'all's time talking about my boring astronomy stuff, but I started off as an amateur astronomer. I mean, my first love was Comet Hale-Bopp in '97, and that was when I was 10 years old. And ever since I saw that, I knew I wanted to study astronomy. And my parents got me a telescope, and the telescope I own now is a Celestron C8 from the '80s. It's got a sidereal drive.
By the way, that's not one of his kids on the left side there.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. That's Europa, by the way, named after the moon of Saturn. Sorry, Jupiter. And we also have Titan and Io. And anyway, so yeah, my first intro to astronomy was Hale-Bopp, and then I've got my Celestron C8, and you know, I always track things manually. I really need to learn how to do more stuff, but it's funny when you become a professional astronomer, like you go from observing the night sky whenever you want to staring at your computer all day and then falling asleep. It's unfortunate but true. And so I would love to collaborate with y'all and learn more about the visual side of things. You know, all my research more or less is theoretical, and then working with like Hubble Space Telescope data and all that. And that's, you know, I don't do any of the hard work of taking the images or anything like that myself. So
I will mention another of our volunteers is sitting back here. Brad Riza, would you raise your hand, Brad? Are you still here? I guess Brad had to go home. He lives over in Benbrook. But he's had 7 years of being the star guide for Badlands National Park. He has lots and lots of stories of being that guide, and he has an entire lifetime of astronomy. And the other volunteer that I'm just so tickled to have is John Dowell. He has rebuilt 3 of our telescopes, including our 18-inch Johnsonian, which is a Dobsonian except with a circular base. And so we're just learning how to run those because they're on a different operating system. You operate them with a tablet using Sky Safari. If there are no other questions, I invite any of you. Our first and third Friday nights of each month are public star parties. If you want to have your own star party down there, I would like you to do it on a night other than that. But if you want to come down and mingle and help with the guests that we have, I'd love to have you first and third Friday nights of each month. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry, and thank you, Dr. Rice, and I'm sure we all look forward to working with you guys, so it's an exciting opportunity for all of us. We have a raffle to do, and I'm going to do that as fast as I can. I'm just going to read the numbers, and then we're going to move right to Bill. Oh, crap, I'm going to move this down here so we don't get blasted. Oh my gosh. Okay, I apologize for turning the light on and not telling anybody. Okay, 2950441. Two 2950456. 0441. Okay. 0456. 295. This doesn't seem like it's possible. 2950445. 2950445. Oh, okay. 2950426. 2950446.
Might need to do a recall.
426, yeah. 2950446. 456. 2950450. 2950450. 2950438. No, you can only win once. Last ticket. 2950433. Okay, raffle concluded. Our buddy Bill, he does an outstanding job. So he's going to talk to us about what's up in the sky for the next month or so. And I'm looking at serious process improvement on how we do this meeting. So any input is welcome.
I'll get the light. I knew better than that. So, this is what's going on in the sky from tonight until the next meeting. And Trevor Bray, this beautiful picture of the Heart Nebula. Wanted to put it on the front page here. It's got that in the whole palette there. So, next slide.
Will this be available online?
Yes, yeah, every one that I do, I print it to PDF and stick it on the group's site. So, yeah, this was yesterday's news, but Palace is still close to opposition, and I figured that since we'd gone 2 months without having a little coverage of what's going on in the sky, and I had to do 2 months worth of that back in November, that I'd return to Pallas, still in the sky, still in Canis Major, and it's right there in between the paws of the dog, and it's a binocular object, and it's a small telescope object, and if you image it, it's kind of cool to image the motion over a set of frames. It's kind of like a comet. So just a reminder of that one. Next frame. So our new moon is coming. Hopefully we have good weather somewhere around that. Saturday, January 21st. And hey, it's on the weekend, so take advantage if you can. Next slide. All right, so Mercury's back in the morning sky again. Its greatest western elongation is on the 30th of January, but it'll be actually highest in altitude in the morning sky on Wednesday the 25th. And it does a nice smooth curve up there at the top there. So from the 22nd to the 31st, it'll be about 16 degrees up in the sky, which is, if you hold your arm out at arm's length, it's about a little more than a fist and a half high from the horizon, which is a nice little trick to identify your altitude there. Next slide. Mars occultation by the moon. So I didn't know about the one in December, but there was one. I really didn't pay a lot of attention to occultations. But I didn't have my telescope with me. I was actually I thought that I wasn't paying attention to my own presentation, and I thought that particular night back in December was actually the peak of the Geminids, and I was a week off. And I went outside, and I was looking up in the sky, and of course, I recorded that night. I did a time lapse of the Geminids, which wasn't that night. And let me tell you, if you're a week early or a week late from the Geminids or any meteor shower or peak, it's going to be a bust. So I'm just going to tell you, you'll be disappointed now. So maybe just stick to peak night. I was sitting with my dad, and I was like, running the time lapse, and I'm like, there are no meteors. What's going on? This is ridiculous. It's just like it took a year off or something. So I go outside, and I see this really bright star. I was like, is that Aldebaran? It's Mars. And it was right next to the moon. And I didn't know that if I had just stayed out there for a little bit longer, that it would have disappeared. And I went online a few days later, a couple days later or something, and I saw this picture that somebody had taken from their backyard in Scottsdale, Arizona, and just really turned me on to the idea of the occultation. Okay, so I mean, like, okay, so occultations happen all the time. You got Ganymede going behind Jupiter all the time, and its other moons and stuff. That's kind of a no big deal sort of thing. But this just seems a lot more dramatic. So it's kind of cool. So a little thing that they say about occultations is that total eclipses are actually a form of occultation, and that partial eclipses are technically transits. So that was sort of a fun little fact with that. Next slide. So it's the big story about the comet right now. Everybody get comet fever again. This particular comet is 2022 E3. It was discovered by the Zwicky Transient Facility, and it was discovered last year in March. It's the first bright comet on display in 2023. This year, it is estimated that we might have 8 bright comets in the sky, some of them being expected to be bright periodic comets, and some of them are comets that have been discovered that aren't so periodic. This one is actually to the tune of about 50,000 years of orbital year. And so some of the comets are like that of the 8. So it's going to be a good year for comets, I think. We'll cross our fingers on that because it's really like meteor showers, kind of a crapshoot. So it's an odd orbit that this one's got. Actually, this actually happens to be relatively close to Hale-Bopp's orbit. So not specifically Hale-Bopp's orbit, but basically the way that it is perpendicular with the ecliptic, the plane of the solar system. So one of the things that we're seeing here is that we got a comet that's outside of, this is Mars orbit right here. This red circle right here is Mars' orbit, and it's coming pretty close to Mars' orbit there. The thing is, it's going upwards north. If the Earth, North Pole, you know, the northern side of the Earth, going that way in its orbit, and so it's not coming close to the sun per se, like some comets are, where they come in pretty close. It's really when they come that close to the sun that they're at their brightest, of course. So what we've got here is we've got a comet that's passing as closest to Earth. It's about as close as it's going to come to the sun as well, at about the same time. So you've got the close, February 2nd, it's closest that it's going to come to the Earth. It's about a third of an astronomical unit, and it's going to be moving. It's going to be trucking. It's going to be crossing about 6 degrees of sky per day, and as it moves in its orbit, it's going to take that same thing that Hale-Bopp took, and it's basically going to be in the sky all day long. So as it goes northward of the Earth, that yes.
Is there a site that tells you what its coordinates will be at any time?
Yeah, you know, one of my favorites is I've got 2 favorites. One of them is Aerith, AERITH.com, and it's that guy in Japan, and he set up this website, and he's got contributors from all over the world that contribute data and imagery on comets and probably other things, but I'm so crazy about comets that every time I go to Aerith, I just look at his comet stuff.
The guy in Japan is Siu, the lazy geek.
God, oh really? You know, I thought that was a Greek guy. Oh wow, okay, fun fact. There you go. So the other site is inthesky.org. I think it's inthesky.org. It's the one that's got the maps where you can actually see objects as they look relative to the background stars in real time. And it actually has a pathway that actually shows where it's going to be relative to those stars in the previous hours and the hours after. So yeah, it's going to get to the point where every night it's going to be an object that does not set. So that's kind of neat. So next slide. So you know, there's not a whole lot going on in. I mean, there's the next the Lyrids, I think, are the next major meteor shower. That's in April or something. There isn't a whole lot of stuff going on in January that has happened. We're already halfway through January, and I hit that stuff 2 months ago. So I thought I'd throw this one in, because it's always kind of a cool thing. You always look at these comet names, and it's like, okay, 2022, E3, ZTF. Well, what does that mean? And so the way that they name the comets, they've got this standard, and basically if it starts with a P and a slash, then it's a periodic comet of less than 200 years. Okay, and if it's longer than 200 years and it's calculatable, is that a word, calculable? It can be calculated that it's a C. It starts with a C. So, you know, this one's been calculated as 50,000 years, and so it's got a C in front of it. X, something you don't see a whole lot, because I think that probably most comets are pretty good to be able to be calculated, or they're just known to not have enough of a curve in them to actually be in an orbit, is the one that starts with X. So an X, the one that starts with an X designation, is a comet with an unknown orbit. So the one that starts with D is a comet that's disintegrated or been lost. So Shoemaker-Levy 9 was definitely redesignated. And I think that Faye 2, or the periodic comet 4, it was one of them that's disintegrating. We know that Atlas is probably going to be, I would expect that would, they're even saying that Halley's Comet might be disintegrating. The one that starts with A, designation A, is a comet that's mistakenly designated as a comet. And you don't see that a whole lot. Actually, it wasn't really used until 2017. And it was an asteroid that, basically asteroids that, follow the orbit of comets. So then you've got your designation of I, which is an interstellar comet or object. Why they actually, well, I'll get to that in a second. So they're numbered by the year that they discovered. Okay, so let's look at the 2022 E3 ZTF. So it's numbered by the year it was discovered, followed by the letter representing the half month of discovery, followed by the order of discovery in that time period, and often followed by the discoverer in parentheses. Okay, so the ZTF comet, third comet discovered in the first half of March in 2022, and it was discovered by the Zwicky Transient Facility. So after a comet is discovered, when it actually returns on its second path, it's eligible for the P designation. And so Sir Edmund Halley he determined this. He got the credit for Halley's Comet because he identified that it was indeed a periodic comet and identified the actual period. And he did that it was the first comet to be identified in the first half of September in 1682. So you never see this, but this is actually Halley's official designation is C 1682 Q1, Halley. So thought I'd throw that in for giggles, and don't even get me started on how asteroids are designated, because they find so many more asteroids than comets, and it's ridiculous. So I might throw that into a presentation down the road. Next slide. Do it. Full moon. So we've got Christian's lovely picture of a moon dog. You see it right here. Pay no attention to the giant jelly bean falling out of the sky, but this moon dog right here, I don't know what that is. You need to clean your lens, man. So yeah, the moon dog's right here, and just a stunning picture. So February's full moon is on February the 5th, and it's known commonly as the snow moon by the Celtic who came and settled here in North America. It's also known as the Bear Moon and the Hungry Moon to the native North Americans. So watch out for falling jelly beans. And next slide. All right, so like I always say, keep looking up. So I wanted to speak to this picture right here. So Stephen Kennedy, our very own Stephen Kennedy, he took a picture of this in October of last year. This is the California Nebula, as I had not really ever seen it before. A nice deep picture here. And it's something that anybody that's in astrophotography sort of aspires for. I mean, you'd love to be able to get published in a book or published in a magazine, but to actually be selected as NASA's astrophotography picture of the day is quite an honor, and that was something bestowed onto Stephen when he submitted this picture to them last October. So keep looking up. Thank you.
Well done, Bill. Outstanding. So I'll keep this short because we're 17 minutes over. And I will apologize to the group for not being as organized as I would like to be. And we'll have it fixed for the next meeting. So I appreciate everybody's patience. I appreciate everybody that came. I appreciate the folks from Thompson being here. And thanks for attending. Clear skies and have a great evening.